My name is Daniel Velasquez, and I am in the recording engineering program. And my question is to all six of you guys, because I know that on this path, you guys had to go through doubters, probably immense amount of doubters, and I wanted to know how you guys handle that.
I don't hang around doubters.
Wow, I definitely had my fair share. I mean, I've had everybody from my family to even fellow students that, as a woman, being in the engineering program and you know, just doing what I do, there's so very few of us, and I think a lot of you know, people just kind of look at us like we can't do this, or why are we doing this? And you know, as for my family, I think it was very difficult for them because they are very traditional in their way of thinking on how you get an education, and I don't think the music industry was something that they could grasp. So even though they supported me to come to the school, I know afterwards there was times when, you know, because it wasn't like you come out of school and you're making the money. There was just times where they were like, listen, when are you giving this up? And I remember just kind of feeling like, what do you mean? Like, I can't give, like, you know, I wouldn't even tell them anything. I just kind of ignore them. I think that's just sort of how I just handle it, is I kind of use that as like hidden fuel to prove that I could really do it. And, you know, I don't allow it to discourage me. I never have. I just keep trucking right through it.
I agree with what she just said. You, in this business, you are going to get told no a lot or turned down a lot. Just like going to auditions, you don't get every audition, you don't get every job you apply for. It doesn't mean you're not bad. The key is to never stop believing in yourself and always put your best foot forward. And just because someone, you know, this person doesn't hire you doesn't mean you're not good at what you do. Because if you keep believing in yourself and you keep moving forward, you will find that person that's going to appreciate that and see that in you. But you cannot get discouraged because someone tells you you can't do this. Because I'm like her. If someone tells me I can't do it, I'm going to try 3 times as hard to do it, just to say, you know what? Yes, I can. Watch me. I'm a redhead.
Right.
I still have my first reject letter from Pixar, and I keep it. Because it's like that reminds me to go, you know, there is something, there's almost like this essence of professionalism where you enjoy what you do that exudes into your success. You know, that if you see yourself as, I love this and I'm doing it because I love this, people will see that in you and opportunities will start to open because they're like, man, he's just so cool to work with, so much fun, you know, this is great, and he's talented, and the more you do it, the better you get, and it's like this spiral of positivity, and you can very easily slip into the spiral of negativity where you start believing I'm not good enough, and then you get around people and you're just a whiner and they're like, oh, I don't want to be around them, so you aren't good enough, and you don't get the experience, so pick your path, because there's one or the other. So if you just say, I don't care what you have to say, I love doing this, and I'm going to do it with joy and happiness, you will be successful.
Yeah, it's funny that Jeremy mentions getting a rejection letter. I had a point in my career where I had a bunch of platinum records and I was all stoked on my success at that point. And I really wanted management at the time because I was so busy, but I thought that they could take my career to the next level. And there was this big management company that did, you know, represent producers and engineers. And so I sent them my resume thinking I'm hot and they're gonna sign, oh, sorry. I'm hot stuff. And this is just a formality kind of thing. And they sent me, after, you know, calling them a couple times, they sent me a rejection letter, and I immediately crumpled it up all ticked off. And then, you know, I thought about it, and I unfolded it. It's still crumpled, but I framed it. And now it's sitting between this one plaque that I have that's like 10 million records, and another one that's like 12 million records. And so use it as inspiration. I mean, it worked for, you know, everybody up here seems to have a story about how, you know, if you're in check, if you're incompetent, if you are iffy about stuff, pay attention to the people who are doubting you, because it can probably, you know, point to certain areas in your career that you can focus on to improve. But if you know that you can do something and people are telling you not to do it, just ignore them. It's just nonsense.
Yeah, I'm the same way. That's okay. I'm the same way. I saved every rejection letter that I ever got. I saved it, and I have them all. At SIGGRAPH in '98, when the school they picked a bunch of students to represent the school at SIGGRAPH. I was one of the students, so I went. And I went to the EA booth, and I practically embarrassed myself asking for a job. And got the HR director's card. I got through to the HR director, and I got her card. She said, we'll call you if we see something. You know, I knew she wasn't going to call me. So I kept her card. I have it with me. I kept it all this time because she told me no. I thank every person in my life who told me you can't do something, because I can and I will. And it's just the way I live my life. Nobody can tell me that I can't do nothing. Thank you.
I have just one more question towards that. How did it feel to just defeat them, the doubts, like to actually humble the people who doubted you when you knew you were capable of doing it, instead of supporting you?
Well, I'm not someone who tries to, you know,
Prove
like
people
sticking
wrong?
up
Yeah.
people's nose. You know, I don't stick
I
it back
do.
at them. It's a personal.
Feels good.
It's a personal thing. It's more of a personal triumph for me, you know? Like when EA called me and I got the interview, I got the job, my first day, I remember, I'll never forget, driving to work, and I just started bawling. Just started bawling because I drove up and I saw the EA on the building. It was my first day at EA Sports. And I just lost it because it took me back to that, to SIGGRAPH and that whole experience. SIGGRAPH, it's like FAO Schwartz for geeks, you know? I mean, you go in there and it's like a giant toy store and you just can't get enough information. You just want to do everything. You want to work everywhere. You hit every booth for a job. And EA, I was very dead set on working there when I was there. And it's, you know, if you put out enough energy for something, I believe it in my heart that you can attract it. You can pull it in. And when I got the letter for the Hall of Fame and everything, and I started going through my old stuff, I found my ID, and I found that card. I started bawling again. I said, this is it. It's got the old EA logo on it. It's got that woman's name on it. I remember her face when she told me, I'll call you. It's like, don't call me, I'll call you. And I remember her face. And I just smiled, and I, you know, it just feels so good, you know? She doesn't work there anymore, by the way. And I do.
Thank you. This is great.
Appreciate the feedback.
That's wonderful. We have time for one more question.